We now know for sure how many Nigerians are on the voters' register ahead of the 2019 elections. They are about 14 million higher than last election cycle of 2015. 84 million voters, although not all of them have collected their permanent voter cards. Well, the INEC chairman, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, announced that 84 million is the consolidated voter register. The document presented to the parties include the record of all those that registered between 2016 and 2018 and has been integrated into the 69.3 million voters recorded in 2015.
It's less than 40 days to the 2019 general elections, and the Independent National Electoral Commission is holding the first in a series of meetings with political parties leading to the polls. In fulfillment of the Electoral Act, the electoral body presented the voters' register to the parties.
After the mandatory display of the register in all polling units nationwide for claims and objections from the 6th to the 12th of November 2018, the final register for the 2019 general elections stands at 84,004,084 voters.
According to the document, Lagos has the highest number of voters with 6.6 million, followed by Kano with 5.5 million voters, and then Kaduna with 4 million voters. Ekiti has the least number of voters with 909,000. Bayelsa is next with 923,000, and 1.3 million voters are in the Federal Capital Territory. There are more men in the register with 52%, while young people aged between 18 and 35 years form over 50% of the expected voters. In the geopolitical zone distribution, the Northwest leads the pack with 24%, followed by the Southwest with 19%. The Southeast has the least number of expected voters with 12%. The presentation is marred by some drama as some political parties kicked against the recognition of Mr. Peter Ame as the chairman of the Inter-Party Advisory Council.
Respected chairman, why don't we sit down, please? Respected chairman.
Nevertheless, the council believes there are grey areas in the documents that were presented to them.
What is the total number of PVC collected for this election? We are not going to go with 70 million registered voters. We are going by PVC collected. That we are demanding that he show us the date he will stop PVC distribution and give us the printout of PVC distribution polling unit by polling unit, so we know the number of votes that is in question for the election.
INEC has asked Nigerians to pick up their permanent voter cards, which have been printed and distributed across the country.
Well, there are some interesting dynamics which have emerged from the register release. For example, about 51% of voters are between the ages of 18 and 35 years. The figures also reveal that Lagos State has the highest number of voters, followed by Kano and Kaduna. Well, let's speak with an election observer, the chairman of Electoral Reforms and member of the Civil Society Election Situation Room, and Mr. Ezenwa Nwago. Many thanks for joining us on Lunchtime Politics. Well, let's really begin with that controversy and that report, if you saw it, especially with regards to what they were saying, the number of polling units, and the fact that as at now, we do not know exactly the number from the 84 registered of people that have collected their permanent voter cards.
Thank you for having me. We know that PVC collection has quite been a challenge, and the reason it's been a challenge is because perhaps many people got into the push to register, but since it is not being collected by proxy, the law is very clear. It's not going to be distributed. It has to be collected. That's the challenge. So we, both civil society and the media, would continue to work to encourage more Nigerians to pick up their PVCs. The statistics is saying that in that 84 million, close to about 8 million PVCs have not been collected. And the INEC chairman has said that PVC collection will continue up to 1 week to the election. And what we know is that at the end of the collection, the uncollected PVCs are brought back to the INEC office and quarantined. And then the figure of the actual collection is made available to citizens to interrogate the issues. But the point where we are now is where we have responsibility. Both political parties, civil society, media, and citizen organizations will have to continue to impress on citizens the need to pick up the voter. And it doesn't just end there.
What are your thoughts?
Even if you look at the 69 million registered voters, we didn't have up to 40% voter turnout in 2015. And that is one huge challenge that, yes, you may be having those figures, 84 million plus voters, but you are not going to have even 50% of those people turn out on election day. So the work is 2 points for us. We will need to continue to encourage people that it doesn't just end at collection of the PVC. Malfeasance in the electoral process can happen only when we create the window. When we do not come out, then it is possible for the kind of things that we don't want in our electoral process to happen.
That's also on the one hand.
For instance, if you have 1,000 people in a polling unit and all the 1,000 people come out to vote.
If I may, let's also look at the significance of the increase, 20%, or rather 50% in 20 years, to this point of 84 million. And we have numbers like more numbers coming from the Northwest, the Southwest as well, and also the surge in the voting population, the ages of 18 and 35, young people, taking that chunk of that number. Do you think that perhaps political parties need to also take that into consideration and looking at how maybe their campaigns, these days leading up to the elections, the sort of campaigns that, people would want to see?
The advantage that we have in the segregated, what INEC has done by segregating the voter register according to gender, age, is so that serious-minded actors, political actors, can then devise specific messages for different categories of voters. But like you see, whether you look at the off-cycle elections that we just had, what comes out is that there are no issues. You continue to have election without issues. We are distracted by each time the politicians will continue to put on agenda what does not really address the self-enlightened interest of the citizens and the people who want to vote. What do I mean? In the last few days, we've been bugged by some Amina Mohammed. So by the time that dies down, we're going to keep talking about things that have no direct impact in telling us, for instance, there are shortfalls, housing shortfalls. How will a political party, both the position party and the opposition party, how would they meet these gaps? The infrastructure deficits that we have, how are we going to deal with them? How are we going to resuscitate our steel industry? You are not going to hear that conversation. So you will have spokespersons of political parties and candidates respond only to personal issues that has no direct bearing. What we expected is that they will be crunching figures right now. They will be looking at these statistics.
Looking at low-key campaigns, as you just saw, what do you think is the cause of this and why?
Well, the guess we can quickly hazard would be to say that what has happened is that their campaigns are going on. The trader money is campaign, is clear campaign. We know also that there are canvassers. What has happened is that people do not have access to public funds the way they had previously. And that politicians do not spend their personal money. Once there is no access to the common treasury, the low key is what you see. The opposition political parties are careful. They do not want to throw out the money. The state, the dominant political party itself, is spending money. They are spending money. They are just not spending it the way it used to be.
Some have said,
Mr. Wago,
if you can hear me,
programs that are going on all over the country.
Some have actually said that they're saving the money for vote buying for the election rather than vigorous campaigns this season.
Well, the truth is that what has happened is that INEC has put measures in place to check vote buying, and it worked out in I know politicians are ingenious in terms of trying to move ahead, but the reality is that with the improvement in the secrecy of the ballot and the removal of the partial ban on use of phone within voting cubicles, we saw that vote buying went down a bit. But it's now our responsibility as citizen groups, as civil society, as the media, to continue to say, look, we devalue the power of our citizenship when we transact with our votes. And so we will continue the campaign. It's not to say it is possible politicians will remain politicians. They want to see whether they can take advantage, ill-gotten advantage possibly. But what has happened is that we will insist with the EMB to continue to up the game in terms of even the ballot itself, how the ballot is configured, how the voting area is configured, in such a way that once they do not have a clear way, I know they are buying PVCs, you know, they are getting back accounts of voters and all of that. They are taking phone numbers and all of that. What it then means is that the security agencies will need to pay much closer attention in terms of movement of cash, large cash from particular areas.
That's much we can take. Thank you so much for your time on Lunchtime Politics.